Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today's guest is Dr. Avanti Kumar-Singh, and she is the founder and co-founder and CEO over at Avanti. Dr. Kumar-Singh, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here, Adam.
All right, Avanti. So this particular interview is part of our Milking Global Conference coverage series where we highlight the best of individuals that attended as attendees, that were guests, that were VIP speakers, panelists, all of the above. Now, this conference is one of my favorite conferences of the year. How was your experience? Is this your first time going? Have you been in the past? Talk to me.
Yeah, it was my first time going.
Ooh, a newbie, that's fun.
Yeah, I was a newbie, and it was really exciting because, I came as a speaker as well as a panel moderator. So I was participating in the talks, but also, an attendee. So I got to see it from both perspectives, and it's a really incredible experience from both perspectives, as both a panelist and speaker and also as an attendee. So it was great.
Yeah, it's something else. It's something to see, for sure. I've been going now, going on 4 years maybe now? Maybe, I don't know. Time flies, but the conference, it feels like year after year it builds up. It gets bigger and bigger. And if you do choose to come next year or in, subsequent years, you'll notice it kind of turns into this community of all these individuals that you don't get to see too often. Everybody's busy. Everybody's doing their own thing. And then it's almost like you meet once a year here and catch up. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I definitely felt that because so many people were they were high-fiving each other and helloing and hugging like they'd been there before. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, great.
Let's switch it up a bit here. I do want to get into your work as well.
Sure.
Let's get into your book, The Longevity Formula. I know in that book you're highlighting some of the importance of syncing with natural rhythms and discussing optimal health. A lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of executives, a lot of business owners that listen to this show, and I know they're interested in how they could, how do they integrate those principles into maybe some of their high stress work environments, but without giving up performance, right? That's a thing. So, talk to me. How does this book help?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the longevity formula is an Ayurvedic perspective on longevity. I'm an integrative doctor. I've specialized in Ayurveda, which is the healing tradition of my ancestors, but I'm also a Western trained physician. So I bridge those two worlds in my work. And this book is really a perspective of, let's talk about longevity from both perspectives. What is the evidence that proves everything that we've been doing in Ayurveda for 5,000 years. Ayurveda is the sister science of yoga. Okay, it's the oldest healing tradition we know of. And so really, the idea in Ayurveda is that when you are living in harmony with nature, with the natural world, you will have optimal health. Now, I'm not going to go into all that. That's in the book, and this is a quick interview. But really, the way that I would say any leader, executive, entrepreneur, actually any person, the most important thing to think about is how are you going to set up your day with all the stuff that you have to do in a day, but how are you going to set it up in a way where you can actually be in tune with nature, right? It's so easy to just be inside of your office under fluorescent lights 24/7 or, for the 12 or 14 hours that you're working, right? That was my reality when I was in residency training. I'd go into the office or into the hotel, I'd go into the hospital when it was dark and leave the hospital when it was dark. I was an ER doctor before an integrative doctor. And that completely changes everything in your body. The circadian rhythm is one of the most important systems in our body, and that's really our internal body clock, which synchronizes with the path of the sun, with the path of the light in the natural world. And that has a cascading effect on every hormone in our body, which then links to every system in the body. So from a scientific point of view, we understand why they've been saying this in Ayurveda for 5,000 years, right? They may not have known 5,000 years ago why it works, but we now know in 2025 why it works, and it's circadian medicine. So I think the most important thing here is how can you set up your day so that you are synchronizing with the natural world? So simple things. Every morning when you get up, get outside for 15 to 20 minutes in the natural sunlight. That could be while you're walking to work. That could be while you're drinking your coffee, or, maybe setting up your day in your plan, or whatever it is. Get outside, get that natural light into your eyes, into the back of your eyes. That means no sunglasses, not through a window, because that light hits your retina, sends a signal to your brain, which then will turn on cortisol, which is your waking hormone. It helps you focus, be alert, do all the things you need to do to be productive in the day, right? So it'll actually reset that hormone so that it's increasing during the day, and it also turns off your nighttime hormone, which is melatonin, right? And so by just getting outside for 15 to 20 minutes a day to synchronize with the path of the sun, to synchronize with the natural world, you're setting your health up for all kinds of benefits. Increased energy, increased focus, better mood, better sleep, better digestion, better metabolism. And, a lot of people will think, well, that's so simple. Is it really that profound? Yes, it is. It absolutely is. So that would be my most important tip to everybody, is get outside in the morning first thing and synchronize with the sun.
Wow, what a great tip. And I'm going to do that. I knew none of what you just now said, and that makes a lot of sense. And, I'd rarely do it. Now that I think about it, I'm like, I rarely do it. Exactly what you said. That's going to be a good one for me. I mean, switching slightly here, but definitely highly related. This is a conversation that, high performers are talking about pretty often, whether we want to admit it or not. Burnout and it being on the rise. You mentioned being an ER doctor. I know in that profession, just medical profession in general, doctors, like it's definitely on the rise. And we can see by the numbers, but in general, like burnout's on a rise. What are some strategies or some things that high performers can think about as they're trying to prevent this?
Again, I think it's this idea of what can you do to, first of all, synchronize with the natural world outside, but it's also how can you add a couple of things throughout the day that are going to support your health. Now, this doesn't have to be like these grand, big practices that are going to take 20 to 30 minutes or, all the stuff that you see on these, with these wellness influencers. That's not realistic. What I'm talking about are small things that you can do, things like making sure that you have a regular routine. I know for entrepreneurs and executives and leaders that can sometimes be hard. And also, it's really important for your health. So one change I always like to suggest to people is lunch. Make sure that you're having lunch at the same time every day, in the middle of the day between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., and make sure that it is away from a computer. Like you shut down all of the work, you sit down and focus on your food. There are so many benefits for your gut microbiome, for your digestion, for your nervous system, just by doing that simple thing. So 15 to 20 minutes, 30 minutes if you can, sit down, have your lunch in some peace and quiet, focusing on the food, focusing on the flavors, focusing on the textures, right? That's one simple thing. Another thing would be to take breath breaks throughout the day. And a really simple way to do this is, we have these little phones that, we're talking on right now. We have them with us all the time. Let's use them for something for our health. Set an alarm on your phone 4 times a day that's labeled breath break. And that is a cue to you to just take a moment, stop whatever you're doing, and take 60 seconds for a breath break. And that's literally closing your eyes or maybe just, looking away from your paper or your computer and just asking yourself, how are you feeling? Taking a couple deep breaths, resetting, and then coming back to what you're doing. What you're doing there is you're allowing yourself to shift into a parasympathetic relaxation response, which is so incredibly important for our health because we were not designed to be in a stress response 24/7, right? That's not the way we were designed, although that is what modern life is like, right? So that would be a second thing. And then, I think the third thing that's really important to prevent burnout is to keep your promises to yourself. all of us have the best intentions. So many of the things that I talk about and I teach and I write about, these are things that a lot of people have heard before. But why do we not do them? It's because we don't end up keeping those promises to ourselves, right? We're always doing everything for everyone else. We're putting out fires, especially as executives and leaders, right? It's really important to sort of reset and say, you know what, I need to keep this promise to myself to have a 15-minute lunch every day. I need to keep this promise to myself to take those 4 breath breaks or go outside in the morning for 15 to 20 minutes to synchronize with the sun. Whatever it is, I think that that's a really important thing.
I like it. I like these habits, and what I also find interesting is that you're not, like you said, not talking about these huge changes. Like these are, and it just does go to show that these small changes over time it can help. And it's funny because as you're saying them, I'm like, wow, I'm not doing that one either. I'm not doing that one either. What's going on? And I'm picking on myself here, but I know there's some people listening that are doing the exact same thing. So laugh at yourself too. No?
Yeah. Yeah, because I think that, part of the problem is that, especially in Western culture, we've been trained to think that only the big, complicated things matter, right? I've got to, go exercise in this way. I've got to go eat in this way, all these things. And those are all important and wonderful. And also, these small things have profound effects, especially when they're done consistently and with intention, right? That's really the name of the game here. So I just want to offer that to everyone who's listening that, you may think that these are small things, taking a 15-minute lunch break, taking a couple of 60-second breath breaks during the day, getting outside to get some natural sunlight in the morning. They seem very simple. They're not easy. Simple is not the same, right? Easy, not so much because you have to make a commitment. But they are very simple things that have profound effects on our health.
Yeah. Avanti, this has been a lot of fun having you on the show today. If somebody's listening or watching this and if they want to connect, pick up your book, connect with you and your team or work with, how do they do that?
Yeah, the easiest way is to visit my website, AvantiKumar-Singh.com. You can get connected to everything that I'm doing, my books, my courses, my podcast, all of that is listed there. You can also connect with me on Instagram. That's sort of the social platform that I'm on a lot. And send me a message, follow me. Those are great places to start. And also the Healing Catalyst podcast, which is my podcast. I interview experts in integrative medicine every week, and we talk about so many important things for health. So that'd be a great place to connect with me as well.
Amazing. And for everybody listening, just so you know, we'll definitely put some links in the show notes so you can just click on the links and head right on over. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. Each and every day we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way in your journey as well. So again, hit that subscribe or follow button. And Avanti, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thanks so much for having me.